I started considering a local initiative in the latter half of 2013. That's when the real really trying to explore talking with stakeholders and saying, would this even be possible? The intent was to, hopefully have the national group back ours because it was a local initiative. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get there. But we decided to come together and draft this initiative. And the reason that we had to do that is because from my study of history and politics in this state and outside of this state is that national interests will always trump local interests. And Maine's marijuana industry is one of the few growth industries in the state and one of the few, it's the best cash crop that we have. And with the trend being for marijuana to not only become a medicine, but also now to become a recreational substance, we need to make sure that Maine has an opportunity to benefit from that, not only from the idea of social justice where people will no longer face penalties for growing a plant or consuming a plant, not only just trying to remove the stigma of using it as a medicine, but also just as the economic benefit. Because growing up in Belfast and seeing the chicken factories get tore down, realizing that we used to have shoe factories, we realized that we used to have a very vibrant working waterfront, and seeing that those things went away. And then when you look at why they went away, a lot of it comes from a national influence on a local industry. We've collected 20,000 signatures so far. We need 61,123. We have a goal of getting around 80,000 to make sure that we have a solid buffer for verification. Things are going really well. We have about over 100 volunteers hitting the streets, as much as they can, talking in their local communities, approaching their, church groups and their civic societies to talk about Legalize Maine. We've really been focused on making sure that the public is getting educated, not only about this initiative, but about the potential impact of what regulating marijuana like liquor could do. Well, an important thing to consider is when you look at regulating marijuana like liquor, you're endangering a lot of people who use it legitimately as a medicine, because it lumps it in with a substance where people have a negative view of you using it and operating a vehicle or using it as anything other than a recreational substance. And so that's dangerous for the veterans who use it for their post-traumatic stress or their pain. There's a personal friend of mine, someone I'm very close to, who's a big veteran advocate, Ryan Began, and he's told me many times that by him being medicated, it enables him to safely operate a vehicle because it doesn't remind him of being back in the war and getting blown up. I started lobbying at the beginning of the tenure of the LePage administration. I'm still there. It's a very dysfunctional place because of the partisan divide and because of the strong personality in the executive branch and the way that the governor believes that the government should run. So I think that we've seen a shift in this last election with more socially conservative Republicans being elected to the Senate and the House than libertarian-minded Republicans who were elected in the 2010 election when LePage first became governor during his first term. I think we've seen more people just want to say no to the legalization of marijuana. In the legislature, because there's two initiatives that are happening, Representative Russell submitted her bill a third time to attempt to legalize marijuana, and it lost by a wide margin, both in committee and on the floor of the House and the Senate. But a lot of representatives said that there's the two initiatives that people should be able to go through the process, and that when it gets to go through the process, get it on the ballot, and then they can vote on it. It's been nice to shift to the legalization of marijuana as opposed to just focusing on medical marijuana, because it's the end game. The end game is the legalization of marijuana on at least in this chapter on the state level. That is the end game, because we're not going to legalize marijuana twice. We're going to legalize it once, and then it's going to be tinkered from there. But such a landmark decision like this is too important to be left too outside of the hands of the people of Maine.